Good morning, baseball fans, and welcome back to Dan's Vintage Baseball PC. Do not be fooled by that fancy name. It's just me and some friends talking about baseball cards. So, no friends today except all the friends I saw yesterday. And a lot of baseball cards. A lot of cards at the show. A lot of cards over here sitting next to me on the couch. A lot of cards in the slides about to come up. But let me first explain the title of this video, and we'll talk about the terrible part first. So, the White Plains card show has existed for many years. My time out of the hobby ended around 2018 when I got back into it in pretty good fashion with my 1970 autograph set and going to card shows again and getting back into everything. So I've been going to the White Plains show, which is one of the shows that I went to right away after I got back into the hobby, since 2018. And one of the things about it is that it's not that far from my home. It takes me about 45 minutes a drive up there. And you've always been able to park reasonably in the whole area. It's in White Plains. I got some cheat codes for that if anybody wants to talk about where I park now to save the parking fees. And you walk up to the front of the center, the Westchester County Center, I think it's called, and up the stairs and right in. And you usually wait about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, pay your money, and get into the show. And the show has grown in the last few years. It used to be just the upstairs area. The autographs are all the way in the back in the upper stage area. And then they started putting tables downstairs, and, 30, 40 tables downstairs because the show has grown. And most of the newer people who started to come in the last few years were originally downstairs. And then, I guess you work your way upstairs. I've had a lot of luck going downstairs because it's not as crowded. And some of the dealers in there are relatively new to the space and, anxious to get moving. So I've actually had some good deals down there. But my experience yesterday was very, very different. What happened to the show in between the last one and this one is that the show itself was sold to a company called Lucky's. Lucky's is one of the two card show people or card show companies that host the Shriner show. They do the June show, which is not the show that I went to in November, but they do the June show, which I've been told is not quite as good as the November show. So next time I go to Shriners, it'll be in November again. So I don't know much about Lucky's. I'm not a New Englander. I don't know the shows that they do up there. I only know from what I'm told. But I know from yesterday that they did not do a good job yesterday. And let me just bring up some slides first. Let me see where we are here. Why is that not working? There we go. All right. So this is a picture I took as I was approaching the Westchester County Center. Never seen this before. That is a line. Usually you see right as you walk up there where the front of the line is, that's about where the longest I've ever seen it is like maybe a few people outside and you hold the door and then you go in. I've never waited more than 5 minutes outside. But when I saw this, I thought to myself, what's going on here? It was 10:30, which wasn't even the beginning of the show. And one of the parking lots is on the other side, so you would come in from the other direction. And I thought something had happened, like there was a fire or bomb scare or something, and that like everybody had been evacuated and now they're all coming back in. But lo and behold, this was not anything like that. It was just, in fact, a very long line. This is a picture that I took after I'd been on the line for about 15 minutes. Right in the middle of the picture, there's a guy with a blue bag. That's the end of the line right there. And it goes down to the side of the building, down into where like the shipping and receiving area would be, wrapped around, came all the way back up to where I'm standing when I took this picture, all the way up to the left, and then all the way up to the county center. And honestly, this is ridiculous. Um, I waited online in the freezing cold for about 40 minutes, and I wasn't the only one. Obviously, there are a lot of us. So I guess the people running the show, uh, maybe they didn't realize this was happening right away, because for about 20 of those minutes, we just moved at a snail's pace. And then a guy came out and said, "All right, everybody who's doing credit card on this side and cash on this side." So I was paying cash, so I went on the cash side, and that split up the line. But then instead of going back into like where that down area was where I showed you before, they put everybody out into this direction, which was the opposite direction. And this is the credit card line, uh, which I'm taking this photograph from the steps. 5 minutes later, the guy comes out again and says, "This is all cash. The credit card machine has broken." There's like hundreds of people groaning, because now you got to pay. What if you don't have cash? Anyway, this is a lot of complaining about something which honestly was ridiculous. So get inside of the show, and it looks like this. And it's a crowded show. Okay, great, crowded show. Hobby's doing great. Yeah, no. So what happens was there's no tables downstairs. There are the same amount of tables as the most recent shows, but they didn't put anybody downstairs. They just jammed everyone into the main room, so that all the aisles were significantly more narrow than usual. And for a couple of hours, in fact, the couple of hours that I was there from, I got into the room about 11:05, 11:10. And I walked around for about I left a little after 2, so I walked around for about 2 hours and then took it easy for the last hour or so. And it was impossible at points to get through. There were a lot of people, sure, but there were people that were jammed together, because if you're looking at two different dealers at two different tables, there was literally no space to go in between people if they were, at the same time looking at two different dealers in two different directions. So we're talking about a situation where it's impossible to get through. One of the dealers said to me, "I hope the fire department doesn't come here, because this is not safe." And it wasn't. Honestly, it was not safe. It was both bad for the dealers. One of the dealers said, "Well, you just got here?" And I said, "Yeah, I was online for 35, 40 minutes. And he's like, "Oh, this is not good. I can't get business if nobody's inside the room." And so what happens is, at some point, I just decide to go way off to the right, where there are fewer people, and just take my time going through. And when I tried to get through some of the middle aisles, I just couldn't do it. And I think it hurt hurt the dealers. It certainly did not do well with the people at the show, the customers, the hobby. And like I said, it was a safety problem. So this is, can you chalk it up to, this is the first time they've run this show? Yeah, sure. But this was really, when I say terrible in the title of this was a terribly run card show. And I've been going to card shows for decades, going back to the 70s. I've been going to card shows in all different areas of the country. This was maybe the worst run card show that I have ever attended. And I don't say that lightly. And I took pictures. I wanted to take pictures, because if I come on here and just start rambling and ranting, it's not going to let you know that I have proof that this was one of the worst run card shows that I have ever attended. And I really hope they get it better next time, because if they don't get it better next time, I ain't going back. And I spend a lot of money at this show. But let me tell you, the terrible part of the show is over. The great part about it is about to begin. And great part of the hobby, of course, are the people, and not just the cards. And changing my collecting approach this year to be more precise, to be more discriminating, to spend more time looking at the cards, understanding what I'm looking for, and being patient is what I need to do. And then those are the things that I felt like I did yesterday. This young man next to me is Brian Roth. If you don't know him, he is a YouTube sports card Hall of Famer, and he should be because he's a terrific guy. He is both a collector and a dealer, and the card that he's showing me, we'll get a little close up of it. I purchased from him in a Discord server a couple weeks ago. You're going to White Plains? Yeah, you're going to White Plains? Yep. Let's do the deal there. So here it is. That's me getting a 1935 Diamond Stars Lefty Grove card number 1 in the set, and we'll see the eye appeal in a little bit. But Brian, very, very fair, smart guy, bright guy, personable guy, and definitely somebody who I would recommend talking to if you're looking for particular vintage cards. So that was a good one, and that was the first thing I did when I got in. And after that line, I was a little cranky, but Brian cheered me up right away. So good for him, and a wonderful gentleman and a wonderful deal. I'd say 5 minutes after I talked to Brian, maybe not even, maybe when I was still sort of at Brian's table, I ran into Jake. Jake runs the excellent YouTube channel called Wax Pack Wisdom. And there is a lot of wisdom on that channel, and a really passionate collector. This picture was taken by his lovely wife, Abby, who I was absolutely fortunate to have met, and love talking to them. Jake is going to be on my channel. In fact, next weekend, we're going to do a collaboration together. Great to see him. Great to talk to him. Great to see his pickups. And again, another great part of the hobby, and a terrific part of this show was being able to meet folks like Jake and his wife, Abby. There, of course, is Sammy Thunder. Sammy and I are showing off 2 of our better pickups. And you can see right there, that's not the Lefty Grove. That's another card from the Diamond Star set, which we'll see shortly. I would encourage you, if you're not already, you probably are, but if you're not, go over to Sammy's channel, subscribe, and watch. He did, I believe, 2 videos on this show. He did the Friday night walk around, which I guess it wasn't as crowded, and he was able to see a lot of tables. But yesterday, I think he talked about not really being able to shoot footage because of the situation. And he picked up there the 1952 Burke Ross Willie Mays wonderful card, and I know we got that from Stan Locke, who was there yesterday. I had a nice chat with Stan a couple of times. Here we go, Mookie Chilson and his friend Pete. 2 great guys, and happy to see them again. Mookie, of course, is known for his pinhole collection, and we'll see why I'm showing the Jimmy Fox card there. And I love the way this picture looks. The arm that's over Pete's shoulder looks like I have a super long right arm in this photo, but actually that's Mookie's right arm. My right arm is around Mookie underneath where his backpack is, so I do not have a super long right arm. It's right here. It's just regular right arm. Anyway, so great to see those guys also. And so cards. Talked about the terrible production. I talked about the great people. And now here are the cards. That's the Lefty Grove that I picked up from Brian. Yes, it's a 1.5, but look at that centering. Look at that eye appeal. I feel like, we went back and forth a little bit, and he gave me a good solid deal. I didn't pay a little bit of money for this, but I paid the right amount, I feel. Maybe even a little bit better than the right amount. But, giving Brian all of his props, and this card is, terrific. It's number 1 in the set, which means, of course, that over the years when kids put the set together, they put it in rubber bands. So this card is not as much available in this kind of quality as some of the other cards in the set. And here it is. As you can see, look at that eye appeal. And look at that artwork. I mean, with the yellow and the Red Sox and just the player behind him, and it's just a terrific card. I've wanted this card for quite a long time, and because of its, the sort of, it's not rarity, but because it's hard to find in this kind of eye appeal, it's been difficult for me to find it. And price-wise, I think I landed at the perfect number. So the card next to it is the Jimmy Fox card, another card I've been looking for. I did the Jimmy Fox show a few months ago with Mark Hoyle. Of course, Mark has this card, but I've never been able to find this card again with the kind of eye appeal that you'd want to find it in. And little cheat code on this one. I got this card from a modern dealer who had a little bit of a display of vintage, and a younger guy who spent a lot of time talking to his friends and chatting, and I could barely get his attention to open up the case to look at the card. But when I did, I noticed, it's not perfectly centered, but it's really nicely centered. The eye appeal is off the charts. And why is it a 1.5? I'm like looking, I figure, okay, let me turn over in the back. But no, the back is great. The reason it's a 1.5, and I'll show you this right here, is because of, if you see right above his head there, that is a pinhole. One small little pinhole saved me probably about $1,000. So the guy has the card priced at what a 1.5 should be priced for at, or a price at. And so he's got it at the 1.5 price, which doesn't take into account the eye appeal, which this card should be worth more than a 1.5. And then I take the card out, I show it to him, I make an offer, which is way below what it should be. Like the offer that I made and the money that I paid would be for like an A or a 1 that was beat up and creased and stuff. So I got a great value for a great card with terrific eye appeal, because the dealer really didn't put enough effort into it. And it's a lesson. I'm not feeling guilty at all. I'm not feeling like I took advantage of them. If you set up as a dealer as a show, put the effort in to know what your cards are worth and know what they look like. And look, the back is perfect. There's nothing at all. But so I now am the proud owner forever of this Jimmy Fox Diamond Stars card, and couldn't be happier. So there we go. Next slide. So, all right. 3 different cards, 3 different dealers, 3 positive interactions. Let me start with the Reggie, which is a little funny because that's a 9. That's the SSPC Reggie Jackson. It says 1975. The card is really 1976 because if you look at the back, they talk about his stats from the 75 season. So, where he clouded 36 home runs to lead the league. The back of this card, by the way, the bio is written by Keith Overman. That being said, so the Reggie card, the dealer, I don't know his name. I don't know if I've ever seen him before, but nice gentleman. He's got the Reggie card in a 10, and it's at the price is 110. So I'm assuming I'll get this for 100. So I'm looking at the 10. I'm looking at the 10. I'm like, can I see that Reggie? So I'm looking at it. And this 10, it looks like a 10. And then the guy says to me, I have a 9 on that card also. I think maybe he thought I was like, delaying, not sure if I wanted to buy it. So he says, I have 9. I said, all right, I'll take a look at the 9. I know what the 9, I know the price difference. So instead of paying $100 for a 10, I paid $20 for this Reggie Jackson card in a 9. So, yeah, Mangini talks about, and I know Adam has been doing this also, it's Splendid Sports Card, downgrading your cards, getting a card that's a fraction of the price that looks exactly like the card that's way overpriced. So instead of paying $100 for a 10, I paid $20 for a 9 that looks like a 10. So there you go. Anyway, middle card. Howard Chasser is a dealer who I've known for years. I don't know him that well. I don't even know if he knows my first name. He probably does now. I bought from Howard a number of times. He has, in many respects, cards that are outside of my financial means. And so I don't buy from him that often. I see him at literally every show. He's at Strongsville. He's in Philly. He's at Hofstra. He's at White Plains. He was not at Shriners and he was not at Chantilly, but I go to those other 4 shows the most. And so I see Howard all the time. He's also got a really, really good Facebook group which I believe is something along the lines of oddball cards. I will link to it down in the description. I would recommend joining that group because Howard comes up with some amazing cards. And I purchased from him a card last year. It was the last card I bought last card I bought in 2024. It was the Work Cigars Carl Hubble card, and he priced it right. We came to a good deal, and I was very happy with it. So I saw him again, and this Pepper Martin card is a card that I've been looking for quite a long time. To me, this picture is beautiful for quite a number of reasons. One, and I'll bring it up a little closer, but this screams 1930s baseball. He's got the old-time shoes. He's got the stirrups. It's in the middle of his swing, and I'm focusing on this guy right here with the hat on. This guy's got like the classic 1930s. He's sitting in the front row with a suit on and the hat, and then you got the other guy with a hat over here. It's black and white, but this is art. To me, this is like history and art all sort of wrapped into one. And baseball, of course. It's Pepper Martin. Pepper Martin, if you don't know him, not a Hall of Famer, could be, but played with such gusto and so sort of recklessly that he got injured a lot. But if you look at his stats, for a short period of time, he was Hall of Fame quality. He is the absolute superstar of the 1931 World Series, where he willed the Cardinals to victory over the favored A's. He's also part of the Gas House Gang, and as you can see, this is 1934 gold medal flour. It's really gold medal foods, which is the 34 World Series teams, the Cardinals and the Tigers. And Martin, of course, was on the Cardinals, who won the World Series in 34 also. I picked up the Frankie Frisch from this set in Philadelphia, which I showed on my channel, but this is the first other card from the Cardinals that I have. I do not have the Dizzy Dean. I do have Mickey Cochran from the Tigers. But absolutely love this card. As you can see, it is a 7. It is an old label. If it were graded today, would it be a 7? Maybe, maybe not. But Howie worked with me on the price, and I got this at a price that I think was quite fair, and extremely happy to have this gorgeous card in my collection. All right, so I guess this is my number 1 hit. Oh, I don't know. Maybe not. Those Diamond Stars cards are pretty awesome. 1969 Topps Super. So 1969 Super, I don't know if it wasn't really a test set because it was distributed, and it's got his name on the back. But there are not that many cards in the set. There is a Mantle. There is Hank Aaron and Brooks Robinson and a few other players. But I got the Seaver. If you look, it's an 8. Does it deserve an 8? Well, maybe. It's recently graded. See the label there. I think it's hard for these to not get good grades because there's no corners to bend. But look at this card. I mean, this is absolutely classic Tom Seaver. It is a 1969 Topps Super. I thought the pop report would be a little lower. I think there's like 144 graded examples of this card, which is still pretty low. And there's quite a few 8s, 9s, and 10s. But I got a good deal on this. I looked at the comps. I was about, $50 below the average recent sales. So got a nice deal on this card. Very happy with it. Let me go back to the pictures. So 5 cards. Feel like I did a really good job picking them up and paying the right price and going for eye appeal and all those patient things that I should do. So there it is, a little up close there. 1969 Tom Seaver Super. Really, really happy to have gotten it. So 70 autograph set build. My friend Brett texted me on Friday and said, I'm at the show, and he had a picture of a whole big layout of 1970 autographed cards, and these were the 4 that I needed. So Brett picked them up, purchased them for me, actually negotiated a better deal, and then we ran into each other at the show on Saturday and paid him for him, and thank you, Brett. Very kind and generous thing for him to do, and extremely thankful for that. So 4 more to add to my 1970 set build. Russ Gibson was one of the backup catchers on the 1967 Red Sox, so he's an impossible dreamer. Sandy Alomar is, of course, the father of Sandy Alomar Jr., and what was the other Alomar's name? Roberto Alomar. He's a Hall of Famer. I didn't remember his name for a second there. Joe Gibbon from the Pirates was a member of the 1960 World Series Pirates and came back after being on another team and pitched for the 70 Pirates, who were in the playoffs but not in the World Series. Scott Reed was a very brief player for the Phillies in the early 69 and 70. Went on to become actually a major scout and executive in baseball for many years. So happy to get those 4 autographs. This is the last slide from this show. These are the 1977 Pepsi discs. As you can see, they have perforations, so you could knock the part of the thing that's just the player out instead of having the whole mitt and then the checklist on it. But these are the full version of it. You see a lot of these. They're not rare in any sense of the imagination. But got Seaver and Munson together. I paid $20. I don't know for the 2. I don't know if that's a lot or a little. But for $20, I figure getting these perfect condition items. You see them, but you don't see them that much. And you don't see them that much in this, this condition, and it's the full version. So easy pickups for me. So just wanted to show off. Haven't talked about some of my. I did see that somebody mentioned that Abe Stark Cards, Eric from Abe Stark Cards was there yesterday. This is something I got the last time I was at the White Plains show, because Eric was downstairs and I bought cards from him and chatted with him, and he's a terrific guy with a great amount of stuff available. Does autographs. I didn't see him yesterday. He was there apparently, but I didn't see him. So that tells you a little bit about how bad this show was for dealers. But anyway, let me talk about some of my recent pickups. I'll go through these pretty quickly because I'm coming up on 30 minutes on this video. Finally got Mustached John Titus in a 2. I've been looking for this card for a little while. Again, nicely centered, little rounded corners, which is why it's a 2, but color is great. No creases whatsoever. Centering is really nice. It is Piedmont back. The back is fine. So I paid up for this because apparently if you have a mustache, your card is worth a lot of money. He's the only mustached player in the set, and he's the only mustached baseball player on a baseball card until Richie Allen or Dick Allen for the 1971 Topps, where he's in a Dodgers uniform, has a mustache. As you know, I did my Venezuela show with Joe last week. Terrific show. So happy that Joe was able to share his knowledge and his collection with us. Inspired me to go out and buy a 1967 Winter League, Venezuelan Winter League card of Pedro Ramos. Pedro Ramos was a Cuban superstar who appeared in the major leagues for quite a number of years. I think he might have pitched for like 12 years, and he had one really solid year with the Yankees. So this is not only a tribute to Joe, tribute to Pedro Ramos, a Cuban player. One of my earliest episodes with my Cuban Star episode with Orlando, where we did in fact speak about Pedro Ramos, but he also fits into my Yankee set. So happy to get this. I paid $35 for this. I mean, crazy low number in a 3. So very happy to get that. This card is Pop 1. That is Joe Medwick. Ducky Medwick was the 1934 MVP because he won the Triple Crown. He is the last National Leaguer to win the Triple Crown. This is a 1934 Kellogg's Pep with 4 different figures. I'm told that this is a pretty good boxer. I don't know anything about boxing. Benny Leonard. Got what looks like a racer named Jimmy Doolittle, and Henry Picard, who I don't know anything about. People will educate me, hopefully, in the comments, but I bought this for Joe Medwick the year he won the Triple Crown. This is a Pop 1. Pop one. Got that at an auction. Got this off of eBay. Type 3 photo dating from 1950, January of 1950, of the 1914 Boston Braves. The Miracle Braves won the World Series, were way out of contention in July, went in a crazy tear in the second half of the season, mostly because of these two guys in the middle, Johnny Evers and Robert Moranville. A bunch of other players, as you may know from watching my channel. I collect 1914 Braves. Nice to have a picture that cost me $10 of the team, Type 3. Finally, I also collect the 48 Braves. My friend Mark Hoyle did a super solid for me. Bought this up in Boston, paid for it, and then shipped it to me. It's a 1998 50th anniversary reunion of the 1948 World Series. Pennant winning. This is the 1948 Braves did not win the World Series. They won the pennant. They lost to the Cleveland Indians. The autographs on the front are not anything major. The real reason to get this is the autographs on the player page. We got Tommy Holmes there. We got Sibby Sisti. We got Warren Spahn and Johnny Antonelli. And this one, which is just fantastic, it is the picture of Bob Feller and Johnny Sain before Game 1. Game 1 was a 1-0 contest won by the Braves. Johnny Sain pitched a complete game shutout. Bob Feller gave up one controversial run. But the two of them shaking hands before the game, and they both signed this program. That's an autograph of Johnny Sain and Bob Feller from 1998. So, wonderful, wonderful thing. Thank you, Mark, for doing that for me. So that's 32 minutes of me ranting and raving and showing some cards, but hope you stuck to the end to see that great autograph of Feller and Sain. So, folks, I will be back next week. I may have a video on Friday because I'm working a card show on Saturday, and I think I'm recording a show on Sunday. So I've got a lot of things happening on the channel. So that's good for you. Interviews coming up, some other stuff happening, and I'm going to be hosting 4 Collectors on February 2nd, a show that I actually have all set up at this point. So exciting stuff happening. Stay tuned, and thanks for sticking with me for this long. Take care, guys.